week's episode of Mouse Minds. I feel like my mic is not perfect, but I'm sure I'll get it right eventually. I feel like I'm over over modulated. I don't know. Overdriven a little bit and over modulated. But I'm sure I will fix that before this goes out. But we definitely want to thank you for joining us this week for this week's episode. We are here for you live, just like we are every Tuesday, right around 8:30 here on our Disney and Beyond YouTube channel. And I am joined by my lovely co-hosts, Luella
Hello.
and Michael.
I'm just happy to be back in Florida with Florida temps.
There you
That
go.
was a
There you go.
that was a little rough one the past couple of weeks, but we're good now.
I will say the only place I'd rather be right now is on the Disney Treasure. I'm really bummed that I'm not on it right now because it looks amazing. If you haven't been following all the photos from the various people on the cruise itself, definitely take a look because that haunted mansion lounge is the stuff dreams are made of. So please check it out. It is awesome. You will not be disappointed. Trust me. So, um, this on this week's episode, um, Michael came up with this week's topic, and we are going to be discussing our favorite quiet places inside the Disney parks. Where do we like to find peace and quiet when we have a day in the parks? Could be outside the parks too. Could be at a resort. Could be anywhere inside Disney property. But that is where we are going to go with this. And I will kick things off on this one because I always go back to this one as one of my favorite quiet places at Disney parks. And of course, I'm sure we'll get to more in a minute here. But my absolute all time number one best favorite place ever for quietness at Walt Disney World is of course the is Fort Wilderness. Being there in the morning and waking up in the morning and hearing the trees and the nature and everything else um, is next level serene. It is absolutely. I've done it so many times. It's just incredible knowing that you're steps away from magic and fun, but yet you're in the surrounded by nature and it's quiet and there's all kinds of turkeys and deers and maybe even bears sometimes. But it is awesome. It is extremely quiet. In the morning at least. Once it gets during the day and it gets a little more active, then it does get a little bit louder, but it still stays pretty quiet for the most part. But that is my number one top spot. And if you ever get the experience to camp at Fort Wilderness, please do because there's nothing like being in a tent at Fort Wilderness. When I say camp, I don't mean an RV or something like that. I mean like an actual tent because it is an experience that you will remember forever. So definitely do that next time you're at Walt Disney World. So that is my number one favorite quiet place. Michael, Luella, let's hear
So
your guide, and we'll go
you're
from there.
choosing one place for the whole resort. I guess that's what we're trying to
I mean, we
choose.
do that. We can
Mhm,
go. We can do more
mhm,
places. I mean, I have more places. I just was using that as a
mhm.
jumping off point.
So is there one particular place within the resort that like this is the quiet spot to go to? Well, I guess at that point you're kind of restricted, right? Without having to take a bus somewhere. The old walking
Yeah.
trail between the
Mhm.
two resorts that's no longer open, bike path that's not there.
You're talking about the lodge, the Wilderness Lodge, and the campsites, correct?
Hmm. Right.
Yes, that is that. That unfortunately is no longer there because that is being used for future projects. That I can't remember what they changed the name of that resort to now. Why did I forget? Why did I forget? They just
I think
changed it
that's not
too.
reflections anymore.
Yeah, it's not Reflections. Um, Hmm, that's a yeah. I'm gonna remember this in like a second here, and I'm gonna feel so stupid forgetting forgetting it. But they just announced it this week, uh, and I don't know. I'll have to find it. But I yes, they just announced initially Reflections, which is going where um River Country
River
is
country, right?
was canceled. Yeah, it was where River Country is, and it was canceled. But now they've resurfaced the project, and apparently it's coming back as a new resort. But there was a different name, but I think it's the same design.
Hmm.
I'm gonna find it. I'm telling you right now. And I'm gonna. I feel so bad for not remembering it. Disney's Lakeshore Lodge. How could I not remember that?
Lakeshore Lodge.
Literally describes exactly what it is.
Right. Yeah, they didn't. No creativity in that one. What are we going to call this
No.
lakeside lodge? You know what we could go with? So, fired their marketing team and just let an intern name that property.
I mean, Reflections, I don't think necessarily was a good name either. A lot of it were saying it sounded like a retirement community or something like that. So when it first was
Yeah,
announced, so I don't think that one was great either.
they were banking on some really clear days and with a reflection off the water, and they go, you know what, this might not work 24/7. Got to come up
Yeah.
with something else. That's all that was.
So Michael Luella,
Yep. No, I'm curious to hear some of the West Coast stuff because
me too.
I need to get out there, and she needs to convince me that I am on the wrong coast to go visit the parks. So
No.
Well,
Well, I was kind of pondering this, like trying to think, like, what do you mean by quiet? What do you mean by, is it the whole resort? Because that the Disneyland resort is very compact,
mm-hmm,
where so things are like on top of each other, right next to each other. So to find a
true.
real quiet space is a little bit difficult. But there's places where you can sit and enjoy. And so I was trying to think of each park. I was trying to think of each
So
hotel. I mean, of course, you can't go wrong if you just sit in the lobby of the Grand California. But I mean, it's still bustling, you know?
well,
mhm.
I will say
If you get up early enough,
Yeah.
one one of my favorite quiet spots at at the Disneyland Resort. Well, it's actually at the Disneyland Resort is in the back there, where they used to have the waltzing water show, but now it's just like a field. Like it's like
At the
this
Disneyland Hotel.
yes, at the Disneyland
Yeah.
Hotel.
Yeah.
And the last time I stayed there, I remember just sitting there in the morning and just taking it all in, and it was fairly peaceful even throughout the day. As it got busier, that section kind of seemed like it was off to itself. Like, people didn't really want to go over there. They because there's really nothing there. But it was nice to sit
Yes.
on
Yes.
the grass and kind of enjoy that.
Yes. That's a quiet area. They use
Mhm.
that area for special events. So
Yeah,
when there's no event, then it's just a grassy area. So,
I
and
heard they use
then
it for weddings too.
yes, they use it for weddings.
Mhm.
They use it for private parties. Um, but it's really not that private anymore because they built the new DVC tower.
Oh yeah, I forgot
So
about
actually, it's not really a place where you can hang out.
that's true because that wasn't there when I went there last time.
Yeah,
So,
so the new DVC tower has overtaken that whole area.
mm-hmm.
So I don't even think there's a place for you to sit.
Hmm.
The new DVC tower is gorgeous, but
Hmm.
now there's a lot of people.
yeah, DVC seems to be
And
swallowing up a lot of prime real estate between there, the one they're building. That they closed the walkway between the Grand Floridian and the Polynesian. Right, so that's going to take up some lakeside
Did they
space
did they did they close the walkway for that? I was not a
for the
I didn't know
construction
that.
because there were so many trucks
Oh,
coming in and out.
truck- yeah.
Yep. I don't know if they ever
but
reopened it. It's easier
that'll
just to close it
that I mean that should reopen soon because it opens
very soon
Tuesday.
because the
Yeah,
the resort opens in another week or so if it's not
yeah,
open already.
yeah, and that has some that outdoor that the new restaurant is it restaurant or bar that's outside in that building actually looks really nice and does look kind of like a nice quiet spot to just overlook the lagoon with the
Yeah,
with
some
the
nice restaurants. They've got a couple of open terrace spaces that you can only
Mhm.
access if you're staying there up on the higher floors, looking out at the water. I went to the presentation. We got the tour. It looks beautiful. I just don't know how quickly I'll be able to get in.
What is your home resort?
Wilderness Lodge, but back
Okay.
before they started with the whole Copper Creek Boulder Ridge nonsense, back when it was the villas in
Mm,
2002, I guess.
gotcha. That was before the oh what the cabins on the water.
Right. Yeah, no cabins
Mm,
there. It was just the villas. Nice red sign. So good. All right. So at least we know there are some quiet areas in Disneyland to look forward to visiting.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of places that not many people know of where you can sit and just enjoy, you know, the quietness, but it's never
mhm.
super quiet.
Yeah,
So there's
I
and
I guess
I'm even afraid to share it because now people will go, but
Well, that's it. Yeah, we
there's
don't want to
much
go giving away our top secrets either.
I
it's not totally quiet, but I we love to do it. There is a little caboose in one of the trains, and no one really knows and goes. You can go in it, and it's such an adorable way to go around the park and sit in this little caboose, and it's becomes almost your private little caboose ride. And
Yeah, when you can have something like that to yourself and the
yeah,
whole place is bustling, but no one else is there, and that car is yours, score.
yeah. And so, but there's a lot of different areas just to sit, and there used to be much more, but
are you
now that the real estate is just so premium, they've been taking those spaces
when
and
you
just filling it up with other things.
when you say caboose, you're not talking about the Lily Bell, are you?
No, you can't go into the Lily Bell without special reason, but there's a caboose. There's one train that has a caboose,
I was
and
just
no,
watching. Speaking of the Liberty, I was just watching something this week on YouTube, and people actually got on there by just asking at guest relations. Now, I would
yeah,
imagine this is probably an extremely rare event, but they literally one of them went up to guest relations and asked, and they put them on there, which was
yeah, and that's
very
just at their discretion.
yeah.
There's it's so you can't expect it. You can't think,
Hmm.
especially on a crowded day, it's probably not going to happen. If there's a celebrity in the park, it's not going to happen. So, but you just never know when you get pixie dusted. But there is also another caboose. There's no frills, but it's a
Uh-huh.
caboose, and it's quiet in there. It's quiet. It's fun. And then at Disneyland, our train has a little like diorama section,
Yes,
which makes it like a little bit more of an attraction.
that is the best. That is why your train is superior to the one at Walt Disney World because of that diorama scene, which is really fantastic.
But
Going
yeah,
through.
there's like, yeah, it's fun. And then there's a place that we like to sit by Hungry Bear that's kind of quiet where the train
Mhm.
goes by and we wave at the train. So, but Hungry Bear just opened up. They refurbished it and it's packed. It's packed there. I was like, what happened to my quiet spot? So that's the thing. It's like
Oh
you have
my!
these quiet spots and then they do something, fix it up, refurbish it, and it's not quiet anymore.
Or
I will
some
say
some nut makes a comment on social media and it just opens everything up because now the sheep have to go find this area that they heard about on TikTok once and they go, oh,
listen.
Yeah.
ruin it for
Me
everybody.
about it. This is what happened at Top of the World at Walt Disney. Everyone was blabbing about Top of the World and getting up to Top of the World, and then they closed it off like hardcore. So I understand that. I will say though, after recently watching someone that went to Disneyland, I will say one of the best quiet slash relaxing places that they have there in Disneyland is not actually accessible by everyone, and it is that DVC lounge that they have at
Mhm.
Disney. That is really awesome because I did not notice that they had chairs outside as well that overlook Tomorrowland, and that was like, I was like, oh, this is pretty awesome. Like I got to find someone to get up there. Michael, let's go to Disneyland so we can go.
Who's gonna say no?
Mhm.
But that was like some pretty awesome views for, because like the lounge here at Epcot is, it's just the second floor of imagination. I mean, there's free beverages up there, but I personally don't think it's anything special. But that was actually some prime real estate inside the park. It was some nice views overlooking the park. So I was pretty impressed by that.
I mean, that top of the world lounge now. I mean, they tried to theme it as the villain lounge, and it just fell
Mhm.
flat.
Oh.
They got some pictures on a TV, and then they got the pictures on the in that little cubby area, but there's nothing villain about it.
Oh, that's too
Very just
bad.
yeah. They used to have
Well,
like
and they
costumes that
changed the
nobody was
way
going to
that
put on because they brought them out right after
they
COVID. And like this is going to fail, and it did. So just go back to calling it top of the world.
yeah, and they tried to do those special themed events there and everything else, which really didn't work either. And you couldn't get into the lounge. You had to stand outside the lounge if you wanted to watch fireworks, and it was
Yep.
always a. I mean, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think they should just open it up and just let anyone go up there.
No,
No,
that's not
I
happening. This is DVC exclusive. You stay the
no,
heck out of my lounge, sir.
no, nope,
Pays
nope.
the big bucks, so he needs a little
Right.
quiet.
Here's the
My
thing.
dues
I
are for your do not enter.
No, 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 no. Here's the thing. I don't think that many people would go. I don't think they'd be able to find it. Because even at its height, when everyone was going up there, even when it was at its height, and they finally had to lock it down, there was still not a ton of people going up there. So I
You are
don't think
welcome
that.
to pay money to go eat at California Grill. You leave
Yep.
our lounge off limits.
Um, I will listen. I will be up there.
I
You
bring
watch.
guests
I'll
all the
be on the
time,
way.
so anybody that's ever in town, it's free to bring
Go.
somebody in.
Michael is throwing that out there for anyone that is listening. He will take you to top of the world.
Hey, we get a listener that communicates with us and says, "Hey, look, I'm going to be in Walt Disney World on such a day. You're invited up. Just don't make it. Well, I can go weekends too, but sure, I am opening it up. Let's get a listener to go check out some awesome views.
I think you're highly overestimating the excitement that would be there if they just opened it up quietly and didn't like make it a big thing. I don't think that I don't think that you would get as much traffic up there as you think. I
People
really
don't want to
don't.
leave the parks because they
Yeah.
don't leave the parks.
And there's nothing I mean, it's just a bar. Like it's nothing like super exciting. There's I mean, they do have like a couple food options or they did. I don't know anymore, but it's not like the most amazing restaurant slash bar on property. It just has good views. So honestly, I mean, I think that's why they left it the way they did, where they have the outside bar and the inside bar separate. Because I mean, pretty much most people go up there at night to watch the fireworks in the inside or the outside area, and then leave. They don't stay in the inside bar. I don't know.
Yeah, if you want food, you're going to sit inside, but then you're only getting bar appetizers. You want to drink and watch the fireworks? Sure, it's the same menu in and out as far as beverages go.
N-
So
and I would barely call them bar appetizers because it is they don't have a kitchen up there, so they can't
no,
really
I
like
don't know where it
make
comes
anything.
from. I
Yeah,
mean, my flatbread's always fresh. The pretzel is warm, so they're carrying it from elsewhere. I don't know how far because there's no kitchen in all of Bay Lake Tower.
I can tell you this though. There was one night I was up there and I did order room service. One of the bartenders figured out that we could do room service, and we ordered room service up there and got to order off the room service menu. So that apparently is an option too if you're up there.
If you're, oh, I didn't
I don't know if
realize
they
that.
still do it, but they did do it. So you could
As far
order
as
off pretty much. I think there was items from every restaurant in the resort that you could,
Hmm.
like, one item from every restaurant you could order or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a secret menu because it's certainly not on the menu that they give to you.
I don't know if it's like something they still do, but it was something they were doing for a minute. Like, you would order the room service through the bartender, he would call down, and then they would literally bring it up to you. So I
I
don't
mean,
know.
when they're offering warm pretzels and flatbread pizzas, as far as I know, there's an intern with an easy bake oven
Yeah,
warming
yep,
up a couple of flat
exactly.
things and bringing it up there.
Yeah. They have a small oven up there, and then that's it. Yeah, you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
And going back to California, I have to agree with you too. The Grand Californian Lounge or Grand Californian lobby, if I can say it, is actually very amazing. Especially the last time I went in there, they had a piano player in there, and that was really nice.
And then if you walk like towards the back and you go through the sliding doors, there's actually a little patio there that's very quiet. And, even though just a couple buildings down is the city of Anaheim, the way that the buildings are situated, it does block some of the noise. So that's actually a pretty nice quiet area. They even have an outdoor fireplace that is sometimes lit when it's cold, when it does get cold here.
But now, is that like an unofficial smoking area or is it an actual
Oh,
outdoor
that's a good
seating area? Because I
question.
know even off Wilderness Lodge, they have an outdoor patio and Animal Kingdom, but a lot of it is smoking sometimes.
That is a
Doesn't mean
great
The-
people will be out
um,
there smoking, but that's where they're invited to go.
yeah, I'm not sure if that's an unofficial smoking area to tell you the truth. I mean, I've sat there a couple times and no one is smoking.
Good. Good, good, good.
So, you know,
Are
I'm
you
yeah,
are you
so maybe
talking
in certain
about
areas it might be, but the times that I've been there, no one was smoking.
hmm,
Nice.
are you talking about the pathway in the back there, like by the pool?
It's not really by the pool. It's when you walk through the lobby, there's a sliding door,
Oh, I know
and
what you're talking about. Okay.
then there's just an area. Maybe there's a pathway to one side of it, but it's kind of behind the lobby in a way. It's weird. They
I
have
think
these little pockets of areas that you can explore.
I
Hmm.
think I know I think I know what you're talking about now that I think about it. Cause yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think
There's a lot of
when
seating there.
you
There's couches, there's an outdoor fireplace.
okay, I've
Yeah.
I went there once when I explored
Yeah.
the Grand Californian last time because I went to oh my gosh. Man, I am not with it today. I went to the restaurant inside the Grand Californian
Napa
and I
Rose?
get Napa Rose.
Yeah.
I was in my head I was saying Napa Rose, but I thought that was the wrong answer. But yes, and when I went to on the way, I'm pretty sure I saw that on the way to Napa Rose. So
So it's not on the way to Napa Rose. Um, it's not that direction. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. But if you wandered about, you would find it. But
yeah, you
it's not on the way to Napa Rose.
okay?
Yeah. Which means you need to go find it.
I do need to find it.
Yeah.
I mean, I swear I've seen it, but I don't. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been at Disneyland. I need to go
Yeah.
back so bad. I really I have. I
It's
hate
the
to say it, but
70th next year. It's the 70th.
I know.
Yeah.
And you're having 90s night again with old school parades and things like that, which was just
Yeah.
announced this week, which is
Yeah.
like blowing my mind because we will never get anything like that at Walt Disney World because if they can't do it for 20 weeks out of the year. Why even bother? That seems to be the theme at Disney World. If you can't run this as a festival for another 30 weeks, then why even bother having it to begin with?
They could bring back Spectromet. Oh, wait, that went in the garbage, didn't it? So you
Yeah,
have a
that
nice
got a lot of
parade, and rather
that got
than
a lot of
save it
rain
to pull it out
damage.
for a special event, you just let it rot and get rained on and
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, unfortunately that is the sad story of Spectro Magic. They left it outside to get weathered and beaten and it's not happening.
Nope.
People really wanted that back too. That was I mean, I was a fan of it when it was here, but I was never a fan of it. I didn't have to have it back. The only one which I really enjoyed, which we got back numerous times, is the electrical parade. But we're
Yep.
getting a nighttime parade anyway, so
It's gonna be a nighttime parade. It's gonna be exciting.
a new night temper. We need it bad. Trust me. I think it'll help tremendously with crowd control at the end of the evening. At least that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that's the case. So we will see. But yeah, so going back to Walt Disney World, there's so many places. I would say that Walt Disney World is the more quiet out of all the Disney resorts that I've been to, just because there is so many spaces between, places like Fort Wilderness, or even just if if you're into it and you like quiet, the golf courses are extremely quiet at Walt Disney World. Great places to get out for the day and do something different, and really connect with nature, because I can't tell you the few times that I've played golf at Walt Disney World. The amount of deer and alligators and turkeys, and I've seen it all. I've seen it all. Just walking down the courses. So that alone, you know, is worth it right there in the spot. And to be honest with you, I don't know what the prices are now, but compared to the rest of the area, usually Disney's golf is a lot less expensive than most places in the
Mm,
area, and they do offer professional courses. So um, definitely check it out, because it's not the thing with the golf courses at Disney is they're not managed by Disney themselves. They're managed by Arnold Palmer, so it's a completely different company. So, um, but yeah, I've paid played golf at um the courses, and I paid like as little as like $30 in greens fees, which is insane for something at Walt Disney World, when other resorts in the area are charging $150 for greens fees to play golf. So it's a massive savings. And the refreshments and snacks, because it's not Disney owned, they're actually a quarter of the price for refreshments and snacks on the golf course at Disney than they are anywhere else. I mean, a can of Coke at Disney would probably run you $5 or $6, and on the golf course it's like $1. So yeah, it's
Savings realized.
yeah, it's interesting how that works out when something is not owned by Disney. It's a lot cheaper. Or not, or I shouldn't say owned, managed.
Managed, operated.
Yeah, operated. But there is more. There is, of course, there's all kinds of different pathways and things throughout the different resorts that offer those nice, um, serene moments. Even the pathway from Epcot to Hollywood Studios, going back once you go past like Swan and Dolphin, is really nice and quiet back there, and has that very nice touch of nature, and being right next to the Crescent Lake area, and seeing the boats go by. That is absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to think in the parks where there. I mean, obviously Tom Sawyer Island. I don't know about at Disneyland, but at least on our coast, Tom Sawyer Island is a pretty. It stays. I mean, obviously we're not going to have it for much longer over here, but while it's here, enjoy it, because I spent many a time relaxing on Tom Sawyer Island, just sitting in a rocking chair, watching the riverboats go by and enjoying the views there. I mean, that was my go-to spot during the 24-hour Disney days, if you guys remember that, where they did Disney for 24 hours, and I was crazy enough to stay at Magic Kingdom for 24 hours. So when I needed a nap, because I can't do it, um, I would always relax in a nice rocking chair on Tom Sawyer's Island and just kind of enjoy that for a little bit. So, Michael, do you have any other favorite spots?
Yeah, you know what made me think of this topic? I was on the monorail, and we're coming around the bend from the Grand Floridian to the Magic Kingdom,
Hmm.
and I know they're there for a reason because it's a rather long walk, but there are benches set up on that new
Hmm.
walkway that goes all around. Like you sit down on that bench and you just have a view and a half of the lake and the boats going
Hmm.
by, monorail passing over your head. But one of my favorites, I think, Wilderness Lodge, right outside Geyser Point.
Okay.
You can sit inside, you have a nice view, but on the other side of the wall, there are open tables that you don't have to have food from that restaurant. I'll even go to the quick service, get myself a nice grilled chicken meal and a flatbread. and sit over there and eat.
Mhm.
And you don't get that constant horn, the boat horns going. You don't have the bus noises. You get the train whistle off in the distance, and it's just quiet, and it's a beautiful view, and it's one of my favorite places to grab a meal.
Yeah, that is a fantastic spot. And then you do have that. Speaking of areas like that, you do have that. What is the place there? Oh my gosh, is it Coronado? Well, what is it? I'm trying to think there. Where the Skyliner. Is it Art of Animation in between there, where they have the like the pier that goes over the
The, f-
lake there,
the
and you
floating
can
station,
yes,
because they have that one floating station between the two resorts, and they keep
but
saying it's
there's
floating, but God knows if
there's
it's
a
floating.
oh my gosh, I'm so bad today. There is there's like a bar right there that I always go to.
Is
Maybe
there?
it's not there.
No,
I'm
I
trying
think
to think.
you're. I mean, there's the Three Rivers,
Three
but
Rivers
that's
is what
no.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but that's
Three
nowhere
Rivers
near
is what I'm thinking.
nowhere the Skyliner. But it's a beautiful
Yeah,
little restaurant. The food's not the best, but the view is nice, and you can feed the
people
alligators as they swim by.
yes, and it's nice and quiet out there, and you can sit outside there. I agree. The food is not the best, but people go there mostly for the drinks and things like that. So, or at least that's been my observation is people love the bar there. The food is kind of secondary to that. Do you have any more, Michael?
Let's see. You know what? Like even when I'm in like Animal Kingdom, I found a restroom that nobody went to. And like just outside. I mean, you don't want to be sitting out by the bathrooms, but if you move away from the front door, it's a little quiet nook off to the side. Even Tomorrowland has a couple of quiet areas all the way in the back, and as long as the train's not coming by,
Mhm.
very quiet. Because I'm always in my head. I mean, I don't have to. If I'm off, I'm off. I'm not one of those people who have to take a Zoom call. But I'm always looking, just heaven forbid they said, look, we need you to get on a Zoom call. Where would I go? So I'm always looking for those little quiet areas where you can sneak into and say, if I had to work, this is what I would use.
Yeah, I would say for the most part, the most of the lobbies in the deluxe resorts, can be some pretty good areas for something like that. Especially like the Grand, is a great one for that. Just sitting in that lobby, even on the second floor there, enjoying that lobby, especially when there's the piano player there. It is just fantastic, and I've never been there where it's been packed with people. I've never had that experience. I don't know if you have, Michael, but I've never been there where it's been packed with people.
See, I don't hang out there. I'll go in. Usually, if I'm there, it's to see the Easter eggs or to see the
Mhm,
gingerbread house. And we'll pop in. Sometimes I like just hitting the gift shop and leaving.
mhm,
I don't walk the ground. Sometimes I've taken the boat from the Magic Kingdom, and that
mhm.
forces you to walk the grounds from the pier. I used to like going past the Grand One when that thing was still a thing. Um, but that's gone now, I believe. They said it was sitting there for a
Is it
while, and I
gone
think they
now?
got rid of it. I thought so, at least because I was looking to get a few more of those transportation cards that I was missing, and I asked them if they made the Grand One, and the boat driver at the Wilderness Lodge said he doesn't think there's a card for it because he didn't know if the boat exists anymore.
Hmm.
I can't be an authority on that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to look into that. I'll have to go there and check on that because I know they were doing that as of, like 6 months ago, but I don't know anymore. I know
I
that
don't
was,
know.
I mean, that thing was very pricey. Well, if you don't know, the Grand One is a yacht that you can rent at the Grand Floridian. You can actually rent it out, and you rent it by the hour. It looks like it starts at $399 per hour. And you can rent it out. People rent it out for fireworks cruises. People rent it out for the day, but it takes you on the Seven Seas Lagoon, and you get to go around there, and you have a driver and everything else, and it's pretty awesome. I myself have never done it, but it looks pretty amazing. What it for what it is, it looks really amazing. So I've had friends who have done it and said it's amazing, but yeah, and I believe when you pay that price too, it does include like drinks or something on there as well, like sodas or something. If I remember correctly, but again, I have to go look and see if that's still there because I can't imagine them getting rid of that. But then again, I'm not sure. I haven't seen any of the pond. Have you seen any of the pontoon boats out on the lagoon recently?
Yeah, we were just actually, if it's the same one you're thinking of, we were just on one last week. My friend rented one for the fireworks cruise.
But
So
what
those are
about
still going.
like the ones you can rent during the day?
Um, I don't know. Is it only an evening thing?
I don't know. It used to be you could rent them out during the day. You could go to like I always did it at Fort Wilderness. And rented it out for the day, and then you could take it all over the Seven Seas Lagoon and Bay Lake, and that was a lot of fun. I know they used to have them at Disney Springs. You could rent them there, but they got rid of that. And they used to have them on Crescent Lake, but I don't think they have them there anymore either. I think the Seven Seas Lagoon is the last spot because they have them at the Poly, the Grand. No, not the. Is it? They have them at the Poly. I think they still have them at the Poly, the Grand, and then Fort Wilderness. But I'm not sure if they run them during the day. But I'm sure they do the fireworks cruises. I mean, they those fireworks cruises are huge money makers for them. So I can't see them getting rid of that. But I haven't. That's another thing too. I haven't seen them. Have you seen them do the boats for Epcot? Because they used to do fireworks cruises for Epcot, and I don't think I've seen that recently either.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked into those.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll have to look into that. We will have to circle back to that topic because I'm not sure if that's something that they still do on our side here. But going back, go ahead.
I was going to say, even to Luella's point, like we were saying, if you go early enough to the lobby of the resort when it's quiet and people are either going to breakfast or going to a bus or going to a park, and when it's quiet, one night I couldn't sleep. I mean, I don't know what the heck was wrong, but I was just not sleeping. So in my pajamas, my little slippers on, I took a book and I went over to the lobby, the Wilderness Lodge. When I say nobody, nobody there. One guy was repainting the totem pole, and nobody else had a clue except me. And I'm like, this is awesome. There's nobody in the lobby except me and this painter guy, plus a few of the people behind the counter, probably asleep. But that's when you go, when there's
Mm.
no one else there. I'm not saying wake up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning because you can't sleep and go to the lobby. But if you want peace and serenity and you don't want to be in your room, take a book to a lobby and just
If you
enjoy the silence.
if you want a unique lobby experience, one of the most unique lobby experiences is at the Wilderness Lodge. Don't know if you know this, Michael or Luella, but their lobby Christmas tree, they actually have the floor actually comes out and the tree sits in the floor, and then they put the floor back on top of it. And they actually do this um, like a week or two after Halloween. It's a set night, and they do it overnight, and you can actually sit there and watch them. And I've actually seen them. I didn't sit there for the whole thing, but I sat there for a couple of hours and watched them do it, and that was actually pretty awesome to see in person. Them set up that huge tree in the lobby, because they literally have to take the floor like apart and then put it back together. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty
Mm-hmm.
amazing to see.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's another one, another one of those things that's a little different, um, that you can experience at the resorts. But there is tons and tons and tons of quiet places. Now let's make it one step further here. Let's talk about because I think we can all talk about this. Disney Cruise Line. What is our favorite quiet places or serene places on Disney Cruise? Because for me, I would say to get things started, I know it's gonna be maybe not all the time quiet, but I find it to be quiet and very peaceful. And that would be any of the atriums on the ship, the main atriums. especially at night. Even when there's characters down there, I always find that on sea days, people tend to gravitate towards the pools and things like that, and those get really crowded really fast. But they still stay away from the atriums, and I've had really amazing experiences in there interacting with the characters. Because really, I'm telling you, not a lot of people go there. And on top of that, just you know, where they have the portholes overlooking the ocean, and they have like the books and the games and things like that, board games in there where you can just sit and relax. It's very peaceful, very quiet. Probably the most relaxing, quiet spot at any Disney park, um, anything Disney in my honest opinion. I don't know. Well, you've been on Disney Cruise Line, so you could tell me what your thoughts are.
I find the Disney Cruise Line quite quite loud because with kids, and so like I usually find the adult section quieter, but anytime, same with the hotel lobby, when it's late at night or early in the morning, it really is beautifully peaceful. Now, I would say I am going on the Disney Alaska cruise, and I've been on that before. That's a different crowd. And so that everything about that is actually not as, crazy loud compared to the Bahamas, the Caribbean, and even
Mm.
a little bit of like the Mexico one, which I did last year. So, which I actually don't mind. That's what I love about the Disney cruise. It's like very family oriented, so, but, like usually the adult sections, if you really want some peace and quiet, or um, out on the deck when it's just sailing and it's really quiet, it's beautiful.
Now,
Mm.
Michael, going back, and I know we're jumping all over the place here, but I'm just thinking of things as we go here. But going back to Walt Disney World, um, and looking at somewhere like Epcot, do you have any favorite spots inside Epcot? Because I can think of a couple off the top of my head.
Where do I like going in Epcot?
Other than the DVC lounge, it has to be somewhere that everyone can go to.
Oh, no, we don't want everyone going to these places. That's the whole idea, to keep the
Well,
riffraff
that's
out.
true. Well, we're talking about it now, so they're gonna go there.
I mean, we walked into they have the new lounge now in Disney Springs, and we're
Mhm.
upstairs drinking. And I looked at him like, "Hey, we can go stand on that balcony over there." And you just stand on the balcony with your nose held high, and you look down upon the peasants who are packed in on the ground level like ants, and they go, sit there as I munch on my free chips and the overly sugar Coke freestyle drinks. But as far as Epcot goes, there's nowhere necessarily. I'm trying to think if there's anywhere I go. I used to like um, a couple areas in Norway, even just going into the Stave Church where nobody used to go to.
Okay, that's a good one.
But yeah, now that they put, it's a little more visible. They got the
I would say
costumes. It was nicer when they had that one song just playing on an incessant loop. But I'm trying to
I,
think where in Epcot I like
where
going. But where's
I
your
would
spot?
say I would say Morocco. There's a lot of
Hmm.
great spots back in Morocco.
Yep.
A lot of hidden spots back there. It's kind of hard to people don't really know to go back there, or do they want to explore and go back there just because of the way it's kind of designed. Those pathways get kind of tight back there, people just don't want to explore. I One of my spots used to be in the back of France before they added in Ratatouille. Now that's
Yeah,
that
it's a little
Ratatouille
tough
there.
to get
That
back
was
there now because people are just flocking, and then
mhm,
you got abandoned strollers all over the
yep,
place, and it's just unpleasant to go back there,
yep,
even to get a snack.
yeah. The back of China is always a good one too. Um, right where the movie exits, it's always really nice and quiet back there. Even the shops in China tend to be pretty um low key. There's not a lot of people in there.
I didn't realize they
Um,
had the whole Disney, as it Shanghai, I think, in
yeah,
the
the
China
exhibit.
pavilion. They have
Mhm,
those great displays, and we never
yeah.
explored. And finally, my wife's like, "Hey, why don't we?" I told her about the video, the movie, so we went
Mhm.
to see the China 360 for the first time ever out of Lunar
Oh
Years going to
wow.
the park. And then we explored that area too because we were done. Like it's just it goes right from the lobby, and you got to kill time when you're sitting there on those
Mhm.
uncomfortable benches waiting to go in. So
Yeah, those benches are extremely uncomfortable.
terrible benches. So
Probably
nice.
probably some of the worst at Walt Disney World. But I will say a lot of the countries have areas inside them, um, that you can I mean, even Germany kinda going back into the shops, it doesn't always get packed. People just kinda stick to where the beer is and then kinda
Yep.
move on. Italy has some shops back there just hanging out in the back there in between, Via Napoli and the entrance of the Italy Pavilion where you have the stage there is kind of stays kinda quiet back there. So you can find spots. The museum inside Japan, the Kauai Museum, in the back there it stays pretty quiet. So I think for me personally, I think Epcot has probably the most quiet spots out of all the parks. And you know, that's
And you
just
have the
my
most space too.
yeah,
But now, is there anything in California Adventure? Because to me,
that's a
that
good
park
point. Yeah.
just screams noise. But I think because I'm always thinking of the pier area. Are there other tucked away areas? Did they get rid of the trolley? Is that gone or is it still running? And I think I heard a news story that's not true.
The trolley is still running, but it'll be going soon. But it's
Okay.
such a short ride. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily something. It's not like the caboose where you're actually sitting in that caboose for a good like almost 20 minutes. Now this one just takes you to really quickly to Guardians of the Galaxy. I think there's just it's it is a pretty loud area, but there's some like quiet parts. Like if you go to Hollywoodland and you go inside, I forgot what it's called, but it's where Turtle Crush, talk of Turtle Crush and
Oh,
the animation. That
mhm.
little lobby is really beautiful with
Yep.
all the animation, and it's I'm you know John Stamos I think proposed to his wife there, so
Oh, wow.
that one's a nice little quiet
Fun
area.
fact.
Even there's an uh little sections where you'd be surprising it in that Marvel Avengers campus where you can
Mm.
sit down and it's we have like they do good at finding little places to sit, but it's not a very big area
Hmm.
that
I will say, as crowded as Cars Land can get, there are some spots just when you're walking, like when you're in Radiator Springs, that just they may not be the most quiet spots, but it's just being inside Radiator Springs itself just feels quiet and calming for some reason to me, at least. Just
yeah,
seeing the
you mean that's why I
neon.
said there's places like that if you go into Redwood Trail.
Mhm,
It's kind of like was supposed to be when it was originally a California park. It's kind of like supposed
mhm.
to be like the redwood forest, but there's actually some quiet little places there. I mean, kids are running around because there's like little obstacle courses in there, but it's it's kind of beautiful. So
Yeah,
there's spots as you gotta look and find. It's not as I don't think as super quiet, but it's quieter.
I mean, there are places that I mean, what's that spot? I don't know if it's still there, but there was the spot, where it used to be the entrance where they had the boats, but now it's just like there was like seating over there. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
god.
like I said, right there
Right.
by Matterhorn,
Yep, 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 right
you
by Matter.
know. But it's full now too because there's tables and you can eat there. So
Mm. Well, that's the one thing about Disneyland. Every square inch is
every
utilized.
square inch, every layer is
Yeah.
every part of the real estate is taken. You
And
know.
and you said something earlier that really um is the same exact feeling that I have every time I go to Disneyland. It amazes me that there is a city around Disneyland. That just blows my mind every time because when you're in those parks, you just don't know, especially Disneyland. You just it like I would never think that. And literally right next door is, the street right there. So I
Yeah.
just you never get that feeling of like they did such a good job of, you know, keeping the outside world
Mm,
from coming inside.
yeah, as good as they can, but,
Mhm.
it's they're still a city.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah,
spots that are
yeah.
better than others, but yes, I agree.
Mhm,
So
Well,
I'm on chat here with one
mhm,
of our listeners, Jeff, and he's got me thinking that he was saying he loves going to China and Canada and just exploring all the waterways back there.
mhm,
And I was just mentioning that that silly Ducktales game has
yeah,
me doing exactly what it's meant to do. I'm exploring all areas of the pavilions that I would normally walk past. I'm going to the
mhm,
back of Japan. He was saying he loves Canada, and once those walls come down, unless they're finally
mhm,
down, I
yep,
need to go exploring Canada more and checking out the waterway. I've never gone to a Cellier. I mean, I've walked through a little bit, and then I'm like, I don't know how much further it's going to go, so I turn around. But there's so many areas you can go explore and just sit. I'm sure.
mhm,
So thanks to that silly little Ducktales thing,
mhm,
it's got me doing what
true.
it's meant to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of unique shops, unique restaurants, things like that. When you really take the time to really explore World Showcase, don't just treat it as a place where you can get another drink along the pathway and just some giant walking and drinking path. When you actually go and explore the countries, you'll see how complex they actually are and what they have to offer. And it still, like, to this day, I still find things that I didn't know were there before, and I'm
Yep.
blown away that, especially like in Morocco, when you walk back there and really explore that area, there is so much back there. It's insane. So Epcot is one of those parks where it's almost like I'm constantly finding new stuff every time I go, even after going there for 40 some odd years, I'm still finding all these things. It's insane.
Yeah, and between you, me, and him, you got three grown men coming up with these quiet spots, going, "Oh, I didn't know that was there. I didn't know that was there." So pretty good. No, I appreciate Jeff's input. That's great.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much so. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's show, unless you guys have anything else you want to add before we wrap this up.
No, we're good. If I could just mention just on his behalf, because I know it something I enjoy. If you're looking for any kind of Disney music app or news bits, check out Jeff's app and website, Sorcerer Radio. If you're not already on there,
Oh, I know
I love it.
Sorcerer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a really cool app. You can stream your Disney music all night,
Mhm.
and they'll tune it to nighttime so you can get your wishes when you're home. But yeah, it's a cool app. So Jeff, I appreciate you hanging with us tonight. Thank you for that. No, I mean, again, along with Jeff, send an email, get in touch with us on social media.
Yeah,
Let us know where your favorite spots are, because I know we missed a few. And I
yeah,
know people were sitting there listening. How the heck did you miss this part in Animal Kingdom? Or
exactly.
what do you mean California Adventure's too loud? Don't you know that this exists? So,
And if you have any other favorite spots at parks that are not in the United States, let's say Tokyo Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, I was trying to think for the life of me what I could remember from Disneyland Paris. That was a quiet spot, but again, other than, like, walking into the park, which was pretty quiet, but I couldn't think of anything inside the park that overly stood out to me. But of course, when I was there, I was zooming from ride to ride to ride because I wanted to get as much done as possible because I only had one day there.
yep,
Um,
that was me in well, no, Disneyland Paris. They tricked me into buying 3 days. And after about a day
ooh,
and maybe a day and a half, I'm like, all right, seen it all. And that's when I finally got to slow down and explore. I'm like, I got nothing else to do. I got on the Haunted Mansion and I'm like, can I just go around again? They just let me go through the undecorated hallway and we came out. There was nobody on the line. It was first thing in the morning, just this dumb American here. And they just kept letting me go, until I'm like, all right, I got to get off this now. But that was cool.
Yeah, that is a fun park. But if you have any others at any of the parks around the world, please, please, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to mention you on next week's show. Leave those comments on our Facebook page, Mouse Minds on Facebook. You can find us there. And I see a lot of you are finding us this week on our Twitch. We stream live on Twitch every week, 8:30 on Tuesdays, and of course on YouTube, which I see a lot of you are on YouTube as well. So you can find us in all those amazing places. Of course, you can find us on your favorite podcasting platform at on every Friday at 5 p.m. So be on the lookout for that. But I think that is gonna do it for this week's show, unless you guys have anything else that you want to add before we wrap this up.
I think we're great. Well, thanks for making it on tonight. Appreciate it.
Oh,
It's
no,
Yeah,
thanks, yeah. Just, share those quiet spots, 'cause, sometimes we all need a break.
yes. Well, we certainly thank you guys for joining us this week. I myself am going to go after this and see what other updates we have from the Disney Treasure after this because I'm so jealous of all you people on the Disney Treasure. That Haunted Mansion Lounge is like the stuff dreams are made. True story. I was at Universal this weekend, Universal Studios this weekend, and to do the Christmas stuff with my daughter, and I ran into someone and she had a sweater on that said Disney Treasure Opening Crew. And I asked her, I said, I asked her with like, I got a big smile on my face, and I said, "Are you on the opening crew for the Disney?" And she was like, "Yes." And we had a long discussion about it. And it sounds absolutely what she was describing to me, because they had a small break in between when they did the inaugural cruise and everything else. But what she was describing to me, it just sounded absolutely incredible. And she was saying she just kept listing off places that you had to go and see and how each place that you went to you could sit in 7 different spots and having a different experience every time you go. So I'm extremely excited to see more about that because it looks awesome. I don't know if any of you have seen it or have been watching any of the stuff, but it looks incredible.
nice.
So, all right. So that's gonna do it for this week's show. I definitely thank everyone who watched us live this week. As always, I always say, if you can dream it, you can do it. That's gonna do it for this week's show, and we look forward to talking to you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week, guys. And live the Disney magic.
All
Bye
right.
now.
Bye bye.